Hello, I'm Max McAllister. I'm back with part 3 of how to build an epic FireRock fireplace and outdoor water wall. And I think I've got my video action, my photographic action happening here. So we had talked about site preparation. We're going to stay on that again for a while. This was my particular site. Again, I talked to you and showed you how we were building a slab to move a hot tub off of our fireplace here. So this was my completed slab for my fireplace. This is after the form's removed and I kind of leveled dirt around it. This was on a sloped hillside. Not enough to do anything in particular or sweat like this little 4 or 5 inches of dirt here. And we elevated this end and that was fine. I used a sod tamping tool to pack the soil and make sure it was relatively dense. Of course, while I wasn't around, my dogs walked all over it. It's okay because I'm going to put a hot tub on top of it shortly, so it didn't matter. If you recall, sorry, I'm going to go back. Easy up tent. Don't forget, you'll want one, you need one. You need one like day number 1. All right, so here's this site. This is our hot tub, which we're preparing to move. So there's some of the panels and we just knocked stuff out of the way. You can see the horrific concrete work that was done. This is what it took me to level my hot tub just to make it sit level on the patio. The boneheads who did this work had 12 inches of fall over 12 feet. I'm sorry, 6 inches of fall over 12 feet. A ridiculous amount. It was terrible. So anyway, once we moved this, one of our next jobs was to level that sector. So there's an original piece under that deck, this piece. This whole big hot tub is moving over to there. Then we're going to fill all this in and our project goes in this area. All right. Just another view to show you where we're starting from ground zero. So once I relocated the hot tub, on my instance, I went to build kind of a little shellfish type deck and a stairwell to make it very comfortable and convenient to get up into the hot tub. So now this is all in place and this is relocated. One fun thing I want you to remember, I'll come back to later, is remember that I put that slab out there randomly in the middle of nowhere. Just kind of, I took a guess at where it would be level with the rest of the project as it proceeded. All right, so here's our project. Now we've got a lot more space on our patio. It's very open and there's a hot tub. There's a view from the upper deck. So here I was beginning to kind of stake out what the site was going to look like, and as I began to imagine it. Okay, so again for site preparation, 2 things. If you're fortunate enough to have a wide open space, construction will be way easier because you should map and plan your project around blocks that do not require any cutting. Okay, I had to work in a confined amount of space, a predetermined amount of space, to where I had to fit my fireplace, 2 wood boxes, and my water wall all in a space and still have room to pass between my hot tub and have a nice sidewalk down into the yard. It required massive amounts of block cutting. If you don't have to do that and you have open space, hooray for you. If you don't, there's going to be a lot more work involved. So all we did was just go buy a truckload of cinder blocks. So cinder blocks, if you haven't looked before, everybody recognizes one. They're 8 by 8 by 16 is the common block. Now they're not called cinder blocks anymore. They're called CMUs is the technical name for it. I should know that. Concrete measured unit, something, I forget what it is. Actually, I'm probably wrong. Go ahead and correct me or type in the comments below. This is called a cap block, 4 by 8 by 16. They have 4 by 4 blocks. Or 8 by 8 by 8s. There's one right there, 8 by 8 by 8. And then they also have 12 by 8 by 8s. And 12 by 8 by, that doesn't come out right, does it? It is 12 by 8 by 16. 12 by 8 by 16. There you go. So all of those sizes are there, which can kind of help you Lego land your project out. So just go buy a basic truckload of this stuff, bring them all home, and you can start laying out the footprint. This is very important so that you can visualize it, what it's going to look like as you begin, long before you begin construction. So you want to be able to really have a grasp of how's this thing going to lay on my lawn, where am I going to walk, what's it going to look like, how's it going to truly play and lay, all right? Now, let me go back to that. So this is important. So I just have little pieces sticking out. It doesn't matter. All I'm really looking at in my mind is the outline. So this gave us a chance to sit on our upper deck, look down at it, sit on the hot tub, look at it, move, rearrange, shuffle, get a whole impression of what's gonna happen. Now, this project came out exactly the way we wanted it because we were able to do it this way. One of the things, if you hire a contractor to do this, you're going to get basically what the contractor wants, not what you want. You try and tell him what you want, and he kind of tries to read your mind, but he's not really going to be able to read your mind and not really going to give you what you want. So you can, if you want to involve a contractor, do these steps that I'm talking about now, so that you have something for him to see that represents a more clear image of what's in your mind, okay? So you can have something laid out on your lawn in exactly the location you want, and you can say, I want it to be kind of like this, or you can say, I want it to be exactly right where I have these blocks. Don't move it 1 millimeter. That's your choice, okay? So this is, again, your chance to, before anything goes wrong, put the project on the correct path, all right? Now, at the same time during site preparation, you're gonna want to take into consideration 2 things that are excruciatingly important that you will hugely regret later if you fail to do, and that is natural gas and electricity. So these projects are taken to the next level with lighting, and of course you can't have a water wall without a pump, and so you have to have electricity. Have to have it. No way around it. I will guarantee you will get 1/1000th the enjoyment out of your fireplace that I get out of mine if you fail to run natural gas to it and have a gas log lighter installed in it. So a gas log lighter allows me to go down to my fireplace, crack a valve, hit a lighter, and have a fire right now. I mean right now. I can make it go just like that. So I put some wood on the rack, my fire's burning. Within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on what I want to do, I can turn the gas down, the wood's taken over and it's burning. You want to, most people don't have hours to spend at their outdoor fireplace. And if they do, then it's an extremely special occasion. We use ours constantly because we're able to go outside, light the fire lights up, we sit right down, we enjoy it immediately, instantaneously. And if we are going to spend an hour or 2 outside, we actually have time for coals to form and all of that. You'll be out there wadding paper and, using stinky, gas light, fire log light things that are oil impregnated and all that. Big, messy, goopy stuff that droops all over your bricks. It's a total freaking disaster. Don't do it. Put a gas log lighter into your outdoor fireplace. and I promise you, you'll use it 1,000 times more. That requires that you do all the planning to get a gas line out. Now, on my particular home site, along one side of the house, I happen to have that ran right between my hot tub and my, let's see, I'm way ahead here. Right along my house, right between the stairwell, right out past my deck, and right out to where the site was going to be was a pathway right down my house where I was able to bury a natural gas line and bury electrical service. Now, I already had electrical service on this corner of the house because the hot tub was here. I didn't even have to change anything because the whip that the hot tub was connected to, we just moved around the corner. That was no problem. Natural gas line, all the supplies are available at your local plumbing supply. We buried a 1-inch gas main. Local building codes pretty much everywhere in the universe require you to bury it 18 inches deep. That's hard work. Shoveling a trench 18 inches deep is hard work. If you don't want to tear up your lawn, go buy some tarps at Home Depot. You're going to use them more than once. Put the tarps on your lawn, shovel the dirt onto the tarps, and return the dirt into the trench when you're done. And that way you keep from destroying your lawn. Now, there's special fittings for that. I'm not going to teach you so much about how to do the plumbing and the fitting of a natural gas. I will say I was absolutely given quotes that were maniacal and literally criminal by more than one plumber, which is why I refused to pay them and just simply did it myself. I got a quote to connect my gas line, this yellow 1-inch gas line, of $1,200. Now, it took me 1 hour and 20 minutes to do the work. The plumber required that I have the trench pre-dug and I backfill it afterwards. All he was going to do was make the connections. This took nothing. I basically teed into my gas line with unions. And hopefully you're handy. If not, go learn about plumbing unions on another place, or gas line unions. There's a special fitting that goes, if this is your ground level, special fitting that goes at ground level. And this soft pipe, this nylon pipe, is what goes underground nowadays. And above ground, there's a fitting that comes, and then metal pipe goes up to your gas meter. This took me no time. They wanted $1,200 for that. I should have picked that hose up and beat the guy over the head with it for giving me such a fucking ridiculous quote. It took me 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I was done. All right, so don't be afraid to do this. Now, how I tested it, the way you test a gas line, oh, well, we're professionals, you gotta do professional testing and everything. It's a spray bottle with soap and water, dish soap. You go squirt, squirt, squirt on the fitting. If a bubble comes out, it's leaking. You gotta fix it. If no bubble comes out, that's the inspection, that's it. So don't pay a criminal to come rob you for thousands of dollars. You can do that part yourself. So I bought a fitting at the end. I knew it was going to be a long time before I actually plumbed my whole gas line in, but I needed to bury it. So I capped this into the gas line, pressure tested everything. Everything was good. I buried the gas line and forgot all about it. And we'll come back to it in the end much later in the project. So at the same time, I have underground buried wire running there, and I have my 1-inch natural gas main that's just going to lay out there now for a couple of months while I do my construction project. All right. Now, to continue with preparing my site, I told you I had my horrible concrete. So I had to build and form this all up and then pour a significant amount of concrete in there to level this. Now, to give you an idea, the million, mazillion, bajillion dollar tip of the universe, if you're going to do this, is Sackcrete has concrete in 60-pound bags instead of 80-pound bags. 80 pounds is standard. 60 pounds is for people who don't do this for a living. And trust me, when you drag 60-pound bags of concrete around for 8 hours, you will be dead for days. Dead for days, all right? So buy the 60-pound bags. If you had to do 80s, you'd quit, and you'd quit before you even started the project. You'd be 2 hours in and give up. 80-pound bags are brutal. All right, so to give you an idea, I think the slab over there was something like 150 or 150 bags, you know, to do that slab. This was, 250, bags or something to cover this area and fill that corner was 6 inches and plus. So this is a lot of lifting, a ton of lifting, all right? A lot of heavy, hard, dirty work. Okay, and we'll show you some of that later on. I'll give you recommendations as we go on that. Let's see what else pops up here. Let me go, okay, good. Here's the view. There's the end of the corner. There's my 1-inch gas main that I was talking about. There's the cap that I put on it so that I could pressure test the line. There's my underground electrical wire buried there. So that was everything that I was going to use in the future, way down the road. At this point, I just kind of used some mason's line and some just cheap ass stakes to kind of keep my site marked so that I was kind of just had an idea of where everything was going as I went, just to kind of keep my eye on the prize. All right, here's me not enjoying at all my concrete work. My future lovely wife and her son both came out, so 2 of her sons got involved in the project. This is the $360 mixer that we bought, that we did this entire project with, start to finish, for the most part, other than the first day that I rented a little bigger commercial one. It is a Cushlan model, and Home Depot sells it. They're sitting right in the Home Depot, right inside the door. Go get one, that's the ticket. Plugs in, uses 110 electricity. And has all kinds of pivots and things on it for you to make it convenient to easily mix, use, and dump. I promise you should learn to read the instructions, find stuff on the internet. Maybe I'll even do a video about it, because we were doing it. We didn't know about all the pivots and toggles and switches on it. We were doing it, we were wrestling that thing, and we were fighting it when it has very simple to use things to let it pivot and balance and do its job to make it much easier. But hey, we weren't experts. So we did this the hard way for quite hundreds of bags of concrete, I promise you. You will need work gloves and proper steel-toed leather work boots. And you will buy work boots and you will destroy them. They will fall off your feet. I will show you how that happens. Gloves, you will go through them just all constantly. You will destroy them. But later you'll see I ended up with concrete, dust, and stuff impregnated in one of my fingers. That's still to this day. It's January of 2020, so I finished this project 4 months ago. Had to go to the doctor. I actually ground a hole through ground my fingerprints off and ground holes in the tips of my fingers from carrying cinder blocks without gloves. So huge mistake on my part. I have mechanic's hands. I'm used to having tough skin, doesn't bother me. But it did bother me because I didn't know better. So please buy gloves, please wear them, all right? Let's see, this is what you'll look like after a day of mixing concrete. I'm sure Tammy does not like me showing you this photo, but this is literally dust getting on you, in your face, in your nose, in your lungs. We buy N95 masks and wear those while you're near the concrete mixer so that you're not inhaling the dust, because it's really terrible. All right, now we're getting on to the actual foundation of my project. So this is the foundation of my fireplace, and this is the foundation of our water wall. And this was a monstrosity, I promise you. So we laid rebar mesh down in here, There's all kinds of stuff on how to do that at different heights and levels. This corner was 2.5 feet deep of poured concrete. A professional company would have probably come and poured walls here, poured walls and such, and then came and backfilled and did all that. In the end, for me, I know this is going to be here forever. I didn't want to take a chance on it settling, cracking, sinking, breaking. So I wanted to overbuild it, and that's what I did. So my whole foundation is solid poured concrete. So over at one side, it's about 6 inches deep. And then over at this end, just because my ground sloped away, it was 2.5 feet deep. That's a big deal. You have to have this braced, screwed. These poles are driven into the ground to keep the concrete from just blowing the form open. Now, most people aren't going to have to do something that extreme, hopefully. Hopefully you have a relatively level site to work with. If not, you'll have to really study about how to do that, how to form and pour your foundation. Now, even talking to the FireRock Fireplace company, I couldn't find 2 people to tell me what I was supposed to have for a slab or a base. Some people just said, yeah, 4 inches, or 6 inches. Nobody would tell you. They don't even have a plan. There's no recommendation. There's no instructions that says you must have a minimum 6-inch slab. Or there's nothing. Nothing on the internet. So going in that vein, I skipped right over 4 and said, I knew this was the shallowest end of my site. I made that 6 inches deep. Now, while in digging, I actually dug around and dug kind of a footer around the edge. So I dug the edge deeper, and then along the way I dug veins of footer across to kind of strengthen it. And what you're for sure looking for is hard, solid soil. So if you're digging and you're in soft soil, that's not going to be good enough. You got to dig deeper until you find something solid for your footings to lay on. Tons of videos on the internet about making concrete footings. I don't want to lecture too long on that. So I'm going to move on into that. All right, here's another view of my completed pour. So at this point, hot tub's been relocated. This area of the deck has been leveled. And my foundation for my fireplace and water wall are complete. And in fact, over here is the bulk of the FireRock fireplace. It's delivered on a pallet. Truck comes, a guy comes down with a big 3-wheeled tractor, brings it into the yard and sets it down. There's a whole nother pallet of supplies that included the mortar, fire bricks, and additional chimney sections I bought. This is just bulk concrete block that I had over here that, because I just consumed it over time. Now, this is all the stuff that I bought initially to just kind of lay it out and look at it. But in the end, I ended up stacking it and use it as weight, as ballast against my concrete form that I made to keep it from blowing open and give it strength. Again, here's my easy up. You'll see that constantly throughout the video. And there is Old Faithful, the concrete mixer that we did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bags. We guess somewhere around 700 bags of concrete with that little mixer, 2 at a time. All right. So let's see. Lots of dust makes lots of mess, so there'll be lots of cleaning, lots of it. And all the way from start to finish, you'll be making huge messes. And there's my lovely fiance again, all messed up. This is actually my favorite part of the entire site preparation, and maybe the coolest thing that will ever happen in this whole process. I'm gonna have my own cheers to myself. Now, in my own magic moment, I told you 3 months earlier, I went out into the yard using my highly tuned icrometer, leveled a site that I assumed would be somewhere near my completed patio project and my fireplace foundation. Now, a lot of time passed because I was doing this in my spare time. So at this point, once we had finished the foundation for the Fireplace and the Waterwall, I needed to take count of what my next steps were going to be to fill in the area between the hot tub, my original patio, my fireplace, so that I could have steps and such heading down into the yard. As I was standing there looking at it, I thought, that looks pretty good. So I laid a 2x4 across it. And then I stood back and looked at it and I said, that looks really good. And I went and got my 5-foot level and I laid it on it. And it was really fucking good. That was a miracle. That is, on the construction world, that is level. It's hard to be any closer to level than that. And that was randomly placing a concrete slab in the middle of a yard 3 months earlier. I'm gonna take it as being super badass. So that was a real highlight for me. All right, so here we are, another view of the project. Things will look horrible for a long time. So get used to horrible messes everywhere and things being just all over the place. All right, now that my foundation dried, I was able to actually kind of lay my blocks out in a much better fashion on a level surface and start getting a real good stare at what my project would look at. So at this point, my site is fully prepared and I am ready to begin construction of the base for my FireRock fireplace. So I'm gonna call it quits. I know these videos are long. You're just gonna have to deal with them. If you're gonna do a project of this scope that's gonna take you 6 months or a year, I think you probably have time to watch these videos. So my name's Max. If you like these videos, you know somebody who's about to do a project like this or is contemplating it, please share with them. And please subscribe to my channel because there's more coming where this came from.